Hey folks, welcome back here to my channel, Whisky Wismar. My name is Christopher, and today you can already see some of the bottles that I want to review in the coming days and weeks. So I'll start today by reviewing the 8-year-old Glendronach Hielan, which means Highland in Gaelic. Already poured me a dram over here. And Glendronach. Need to say a few things about the recent, or not so recent, development that's taken place with the distillery and some of the changes that I witnessed, that I could observe, not all positive. So for once, I always like Glendronach. The moment I tried one of their bottlings back in 2013, I believe, was either the Moscatel, a 15-year-old Moscatel finish, or then shortly after the a bottling or a batch of the Parliament. I was blown away. It was great stuff. Not to, of course, don't need to mention the old Revival, which is was a gift to anyone who was able to try it. Cherry whiskey lovers rejoiced when this was released and made quite a few waves in the scene. But all that has changed. I mean, nothing lasts forever, and fame like that, prices like that, which is my biggest point of contention, are of course changing. Glendronach, Benriach, Glenglassaugh is sold by Billy Walker and his friends, his investor friends from South Africa in 2017, I believe, a few years back. And then the changes happened. So for once, the old Revival was discontinued. They didn't have any more stock. They needed to dump in old 20-year-old barrels in those batches anyway for quite a while, as Glendronach of course was closed between 1996 and 2002, and as a result the Revival was the first victim of the new owners, Brown-Forman. As master blender and whiskey maker at Benriach, Glenglassaugh and Glendronach, Rachel Berry took over of Bowmore fame, and she does a pretty good job. I mean, I followed her, what she said, how she tried to convey what the spirit of Glendronach, what it's supposed to mean. All that was fine. Yeah, she had. Glendronach had good PR in that department, but the new or the revival was a necessity of the times. They didn't have any stock. I get that, and it was fine. I should have named it differently. I said it in a video from way back when I reviewed the newer 2019 bottling of Glendronach, 15 Revival, and that was that. It's a fine whiskey, still available, reasonably priced, and nothing wrong with it. What I have a problem with, however, is their handling of the enthusiast branch. Yeah, the single casks, the batch releases. That is obscene. A few years back, you could buy 21-year-olds for 200 euros, which was a lot, but appropriate. There were whiskies you could buy to drink, to open. Now you pay for a 30-year-old 1,000 euros, 1,000 pounds. That is obscene. And in my eyes, Glendronach cannot afford to do that just yet. They are not Macallan. And this is something that I, of course, look upon not too fondly. As a result, for those who are partake in whiskey groups on Facebook or anywhere else, maybe some of you have noticed that the Sean Russell's Glendronach Appreciation Society, a standalone or a group, Facebook group dedicated to Glendronach, is no more. You can read up on that if you are, if you are part of those groups, Malt Maniacs, or the new place to be for the sherry whiskey lovers, Sherry Bomb Appreciation Society. But I share his sentiments. There were changes where holding up this one brand over another is not warranted anymore. It's a little too corporate now, and quality and price have diverged a little too much in the last 2 years or so. It won't stop. I mean, the batch releases sell slower, but they still sell. And what can you do when the producer is selling its stock? Then who can you fault? But for the ordinary connoisseur, the ordinary whiskey lover, the malt head, it's not attainable anymore. And for €1,000 you can get your hands on other stuff that has a lot more reputation and is more interesting than just a single cask from Glendronach with 1 or 2 more years on its back. Enough ranting, let's get to this whiskey, something positive. It's an 8-year-old, as I said, so a relatively new addition to the range. It was introduced 5 years ago, I believe, 2015, and it's a composition of ex-bourbon and ex-sherry cask, 46.0% ABV. As I said, 8 years of age, something pretty brave back in the day. Putting a single-digit age statement on your bottle was not all that common. Most of the distilleries just left it as a no-age stated whiskey. So good on them. And this is still of Billy Walker's doing. At least I think so. This one was bottled in 2018, and this is the second bottle I own of the Hielan, and it's absolutely the same towards compared to the first bottling I had, I believe from 2016 or so. Not much changed. The composition stayed intact and the same. Now, for nosing, tasting, and giving it a mark. Yeah, it's vibrant, it's bright, it's not as deep and brooding as some of the other sherry casks in the range, particularly the Allardyce and the Parliament, which I could go on ranting about in its own right, but the video is too long now anyway. Let's just say they are too expensive. They're getting too expensive, particularly the Parliament. €150, 140 pounds is too much in my eyes, but it's the way the market goes, and as a result, that's what happens. But coming back to the Hielan, bright, vibrant, sweet and sour nose, apricots, oranges, a dried apricot maybe even, some peaches, and with some imagination also dates. Can you smell the youth? Well, actually 8 years is not really youth. Can you smell that it's so young? Sorta. It's a good cask, or the casks are really good. You can smell a lot of, it conveys a lot of aromas. There's still some associations of banana, of unripe banana, that I always find in younger whiskey, but it's minor. Unripe pears, pear compote, something like that. So all in all, very fruity, very bright, sweet and sour. Now let's see what the palate has in stock. Big bold arrival, mouth coating, rather sweet. The sourness is gone. There's no more. The sourness from the nose is no more. Yeah, lots of honey, some herbal honey even, caramel, vanilla, all you'd expect from a bourbon cask, and the sherry influence is there. There's a little bit of menthol, a little bit of licorice, but no bitterness. There's no bitterness whatsoever in this malt. It's very well composed. Of course, the relation between, or the proportion between bourbon and sherry is like this, probably. The bourbon speaks much louder in my eyes than any sherry cask influence. The finish, medium long, and here maybe there's a hint of European oak, some faint menthol or mint, but it's minor. It's usually or mostly American oak, I reckon, but of course, don't know. It's good whiskey. It's really good price-wise, between 30 and 35 euro, 30 pounds, 35 pounds. Fits well within the range of Glendronach. And this offering I like. Just satisfying. Something to quaff on. Easy drinking. But not boring, not flat. You haven't. There's sort of an event happening when you drink it. The nose and palate are not completely the same, and it's interesting enough to warrant another visit. It's not overly complex, of course. You can't let it sit here for an hour or play with water and expect completely different aroma profiles or tertiary aromas, leather, old books, whatever. It's not meant to be that and like that. But it is not what it's not trying to be. So very honest, straightforward whiskey. Yeah, I like it. So, what would I market? It's not, of course, anywhere near 90 points, but it's well-made whiskey, reasonably priced, and just greatly satisfying. So, for me, it's an 86 out of 100, and that is that. Let me know what you think. Are you a fan of Glendronach? What's your take on the recent changes last 1, 2, 3 years, particularly when it comes to price and quality, of course? Comment down below. Leave me a like, and then I'll see you again next time when I probably come back to this one over here. Glendronach traditionally peated. Glendronach's second take on peated whiskey. Stay tuned. Bye bye.